Just a couple of best friends hanging out, best friends hanging out, best friends hanging out.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Stewart is here, bringing you this show. And I know you're all dying to hear about my weekly body feeling update. It feels terrible. Feels absolutely terrible. The kidneys are still killing me, so I'm probably going to be taking a little fast from drinking tons of alcohol, which is weird because I didn't drink the last few days, and by few, I mean just yesterday, because I was definitely drinking all day Sunday, so just yesterday, and then I felt the worst I felt in a long time this morning. So yeah, body's feeling terrible, feeling really thick. Realized this weekend that I'm by far the thickest dude in the league. Then I tried to realize how much thicker I am than, most of you dudes, and it just wasn't worth getting into. So I won't, other than the fact that I'm going to be trying to lose some of this weight. Maybe it'll make my body feel better. So if you have any quick diet tips, all you skinny boys, let me know. This thickums needs some help. Had a great weekend in Santa Barbara. It was awesome. First Friday happened, so I was already pretty drunk. Amber planned the whole trip, and she convinced me to go by saying she'll drive. So, of course, I was drinking road sodas the whole way down. Did the White Claw thing, trying to save the calories for later when it really counts. And ran into Curtis, who was the only one home. And last second, he decided to go out with me. So we went to Modern Times, met up with Colin. And just like Curtis always does, he just makes eye contact with some random chick at the bar, and next thing you know, they're going to town. I don't know how Curtis does it. It's really, really incredible. I've never seen someone that we know anyway just is so efficient at hunting and gathering female companions for one night only, because I don't think his retention rate is very high. But I could be wrong. Maybe you guys could send me some corrections there, but yeah, pretty impressive stuff there, Curtis. So by then, Colin was there, and we made our way to Dargan's, as we always do, and lo and behold, Dirty Dan is there, drinking. I'm sure he played a little bit of pool, because that's what he does. And we started just hanging out with him and Frisbee playing Tom, kind of skinny, fast Tom. And this random chick comes up and just starts aggressively drinking with us, aggressively hitting on anything that moves, just a really intense person. But we had a great time. We drank a ton of shots. We played that little fingers drinking game, where you all put your finger on the rim of the cup, and then you guess how many people are going to, how many fingers are going to be left total, and whatever, and then the last person there has to drink. We did that for entirely too long. We did that for probably 2 hours straight, and went home, just passed out hard. I didn't wake up till like 10:30 the next day, and I was feeling still hammered, completely hammered. And that feeling, that was a lingerer. Not quite top 5, but a lingerer for sure. We went and watched the mixed team play, drank a little bit on the field, and then we played two-hand touch football with a Frisbee. And it was pretty fun, but that ruined me. We ended up having to go back home and pass out for like an hour. We all took nap time and went out to Will's house, had some incredible poke. Weaver fell in love at the CVS. What was her name? God damn it. Clara. He thought it was something that it wasn't. He almost ruined all hope, but he didn't call her by her name. Clara was definitely an attractive CVS employee, and Weaver, I hope you go back there and get her number, because that would be awesome for you. Could you imagine telling your grandchildren how you met? Trying to find a 30-pack next to Will's place, and next thing you know, Clara and you are love at first sight. Anyway, awesome for you. Go back now. So at Will's party, was a great time. There was a lot of shotgunning. My favorite was hearing about Will losing a shotgun bet and having to, without any context, aggressively shotgun in front of Calvin Brown. That is a hilarious mental image. Just aggressively shotgunning, looking pissed, maybe flexing, whatever it was. But that was the bet, and he did it. Me and Bacon were on fire. We went 4-0 in the night on beer pong, including beating Sam and Will in a pretty phenomenal five overtime beer pong game where I think there were 5 rebuttals, right? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, just about. Yeah, Bacon was on fire. He was definitely the better player than me that night, but that was when we all came together and then, did the whole beer ball thing. It was great. So, woke up the next day, felt a little bit better. Started watching Sunday football. We were doing a lot of, I was pranking people, kind of. I mean, it was all good fun, but it was kind of like, hey, Colin, can you get something for me? I need some help for you. Can you help me out with something? Yeah, Stu, what do you need? Oh, give me the beat, boy. Oh, I need you to give me the beat, boy. Yeah, that's what it is. So you just, basically the whole gist of it, you just ask what someone's doing, or sorry, not what they're doing, if they can do something for you, and they say, yeah, what can I do for you? And you say, I need you to give me the beat, boy, for my soul. Just nail them with that every time. It's not annoying at all. But, yeah, poor Colin, he was parading around on Cloud 9. He thought he was in it for the money. He was talking about which money gift he was going to use. We were talking about how annoying it is, but it's also obligatory. You have to send a money gift when you win the money. Yeah, and then just the worst beat ever. He had a 121 to 106 lead with Keenan Allen and Tyreek Hill left to play. He has Hill. Bill has Allen. And it's just that shit that you wish would happen when you're down on a Monday with, other guys still having players left. You're like, oh, man, I hope they, get sacked, fumble, injury. That would be perfect, wouldn't it? It was very similar to that. Not a fumble, but injury with 0 points. So now Colin's just nursing a 15-point lead. And, of course, in the very end of a losing effort by his team, not even a winning effort. If it was like a game-winning touchdown reception, maybe. But at this point, I feel like Colin is more emotionally attached to fantasy football than the Chargers at this point, the Los Angeles Clippers. So, yeah, horrible beat there. I'm sorry about it. I can't wait to hear the hurt in your voice this week when you do the podcast with your awesome partner, Aaron Beaver. Yeah, but it's just a normal day here, normal Tuesday. My idiot gardener showed up today. He speaks 0 English, maybe very little, but we agreed every 4 weeks he'd show up and trim some stuff. He said he'd show up at 10 a.m. to do it. I'm sitting here waiting, 10 a.m., 11, noon, 1 o'clock. I'm like, fuck this. I have to get out and go to the gym. Of course, I come back, and there's a little note bitching me out about how I wasn't there to open up the side gate, but he's still going to charge me full price for both front and backyard. And if you see my backyard, it is massive. So I'm pissed about that. I'm just not going to pay him right now anyway. He's frustrating. But, yeah, just shows up whenever he wants, I guess, and does very little to my yard. Other news, other life update. My girlfriend is all about the cats now. She wants another cat to be friends with my current cat. So I'd like to hear some cat owners' opinions on this. Do cats really need a second cat to be happy? I'm not sure they do, but I'm sure that it could be nice for them to have friends, Okay, anyway. Let's just get back into this fantasy football thing. I don't really have much to update. No fake life updates. Not feeling super spiteful, so that's good. So the playoff race is essentially sewn up in our league. It's pretty much done. We have kind of a bottom, the threshold to get in is basically 7 wins. It looks like 6 would probably get it done, but it would be a little bit more of a toss up. And also Pebbles is the one with 6, and he has a high point total, and he's playing O'Malley last week of the regular season. So it looks like he's going to get to that 7. Now, if he does get to that 7, it's pretty much a wrap, because the only one who has 5 is Scott, and he has almost 230 less points than Pebbles. So there's no way that, unless Scott beats me and somehow surpasses and gets to that 7-win mark, and Pebbles loses twice, there's no way Scott's getting in. Now, let's say Pebbles does lose twice. O'Malley finds a way, miracle of miracles, and beats him. Then we have a few other guys that have an opportunity to make it in. We have Weaver with, and this is because they have a pretty close points for tiebreaker. I'm saying this. 1,315 for Zeke and 1,309 for Mount Everett. So let's take a look. These guys play each other next week. So that is the definition of a loser leaves town match. And that's only if Pebbles already loses this week, which is, it is a possibility. He's going up against Bacon, and Bacon is no slouch. So that could be a hotly contested matchup. And then it is Zeke versus Weaver this week for that loser leaves town match. Did I say next week last time? If I did, my bad. But yeah, that's the definition of loser leaves town. Sipping coffee on y'all. All right, so that is a really tough matchup, and probably the game of the week is Weaver versus Adam. I also like as a game of the week is where is it? Oh, there we go. Colin versus Maxwell. That's going to be a good one. They're basically just vying for playoff seeding at this point, and I think playoff seeding could be important depending on how all these free agents and injuries shake out, because me losing Marlon Mack was a huge blow to my team, and hopefully, I'm really hoping that it's he's only out for a few weeks, but you never know. I want to get him back for the playoffs. It'll be tough. But yeah, freaking that Adam v. Weaver matchup is looming large this week. Going to be a good one. And I guess maybe if Evan has just like the most incredible back-to-back weeks here, it's possible for him to get in, but he would need to put up a shit ton of points. And this happened before. I had that one where I needed like a Scott Novum loss, and it was like a ridiculous 70 or 80 point differential to get in, and it ended up happening. So you never know. So good luck to all the pretenders, Scott's shitty team, Adam and Weaver. Good luck. Andrew Beaver and his podcast. All right. So that's pretty much that. I have actually gone 24-13 in the weeks that were counted by Yahoo, because I always click on the picks, That's pretty good. I think it's close to 70%, like 60-something%. And I missed week 8, 10, and week 8. So if I can get those stats, I think it would be. I think I would have a pretty good pick record. I would like to see what Weaver's is, what Collins is, and anyone else who has been doing it, which doesn't look like it, but maybe you had been on the low. But yeah, I've also realized that it's pretty obvious, instead of naming my podcast numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I should just name them after the NFL weeks that they're preceding. Doesn't make any sense why this one's not called Stewart's Just a Couple of Best Friends Hanging Out Podcast NFL Week 12. That's what it should be called. So I'm going to start doing that. Now, I actually did a little bit of a statistical and analytical breakdown. So I don't usually do this in my podcast, but I was so thrilled to get Lamar Jackson, and I was so bummed out to have Zach Ertz until the last few weeks that I started thinking to myself, I'm like, why is it that people will argue for an elite tight end to get drafted in the top round, you know, in the late round, like when Gronk was killing it, it was like he would be a viable first-round pick. Kelsey was considered a viable early second, sometimes even a late first, depending on full point PPR or not. And all of a sudden, quarterbacks are just yesterday's lunch. No one gives a fuck about them. They're like, I'll just get a guy in the 10th round, which, in all fairness, I did get, you know, my quarterback, my MVP quarterback late. And Colin, was it Colin who had Mahomes last year? I think so. And he got him very late, too. So you could say that there's that like back end opportunity and it's less predictable to know which quarterbacks are going to lead the league and all that kind of stuff. But I put together a few numbers based on this argument of why are we drafting quarterbacks so late and why are we drafting tight ends so early. So let's take a look at the draft here, the overview of the draft. All right, draft results. Here we go. So, when was the first QB drafted? QB. The first QB drafted. That's not true, is it? 4th round. No. Mahomes. At the back end of the 4th round was when the first QB was drafted. It's a long time, especially considering that these guys make up the vast majority of the highest ranked players, giving you the most points. So, let's see. When was the first tight end drafted? Let's see here. The first tight end was Travis Kelsey with the 9th pick of the 2nd round. So people were a little bit down on tight ends this year, but still 2 full rounds before the first quarterback was taken. It's a lot of picks. Now, let's look at these player ranks. Here we go, season, all offense, all players. All right, let's just go by season total. Fantasy points. God damn it, filter. All right, there we go. The fuck? No, all players, you bitch. All right, here we go. So, we have how many quarterbacks here in the top 50? Let's just see how many quarterbacks we have in the top 50. Season rank. Oh my God, there's a lot. It goes all the way to about Baker Mayfield with 49, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. So there are 22 quarterbacks in the top 50. Now for tight ends, the top quarterback is Travis no shit Peebly Kelsey at 46. So he is at the back end of the top 50, best player available. But you only have one quarterback slot, and you only have one tight end slot. So you're saying, well, there are clearly more quarterbacks that can fill that void for you and get more points for your team. Check it out. Let's say you have 12 starting quarterbacks in our league, with maybe a few guys who are interchanging here and there. The highest scoring QB has 275 points on the year. That's my guy, Lamar. The 12th highest is Matty Ice with 173. So the difference between those guys, that top player and that 12th player, is over 100 points. Just barely over 100, about 100. So the highest scoring tight end, Travis no shit Peebly Kelsey, is at 138.8. And the 12th best is Gerald Everett at 68. So that difference is only 70 points. So if you get an undrafted guy in the quarterback position, I guess you can maybe hope to put up 173 in the top 12 or something. However, you're still missing out on 100 points than if you would have just pulled the trigger on a top-end quarterback, especially one of these cheat code running backs like Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson or Russell Wilson or someone like that. So you could also argue that, well, Lamar Jackson's having like a historic year and all that, and he's going to break records. So the second highest is, of course, the king of garbage, Russell Wilson. He's at 244 total. So that's still a difference of about 70 points, which is the same as the tight end. So what my whole argument is, it seems like you're leaving a lot more on the table by not just pulling the trigger on one of these guys. Now, the only reason they're available later is because we all have this weird agreement that no one's going to draft QBs early because that would be stupid, right? That would be stupid. Yet I'm sitting here drafting Zach Ertz in the 3rd round, and we're drafting Kelsey in the second round. And who else are we drafting here? Fucking Kittle, probably. When did these guys go? Yeah, Austin Hooper, he didn't go till super late. Mark Andrews, he didn't go till super late. Darren Waller, he didn't go till super late. You get the point. We draft these tight ends high because there's perceived scarcity at the position. But that top-end talent is not that much better than your middling talent that's going undrafted. I mean, look at that. Greg Olsen is 58 points away from scoring as much as Travis Kelce. We're in week 11. That's less than, what is that? Jeez, let's talk about podcast math. 138 minus 88, and that's 50. 50 divided by 11. That's like 5 points a game difference, which I guess sounds like a lot, but I don't know. Anyway, not really sure what I'm going with here. I don't really do a lot of stats and math on my show. But why is tight end considered so much more valuable than quarterback, despite the fact that there are, 20 quarterbacks rated in the top 50? I guess you can argue that you can just hop on one of those guys, and that way you can get an undrafted, opportunity or whatever. And there's only one tight end ranked in the top 50. So you're going to have to hop on that guy in the top 3 rounds. It doesn't make sense to me. So I am officially out on tight ends. I'm not reaching and spending a high draft pick on a tight end anymore. I would rather spend a high draft pick on just wide receivers, running backs, and maybe a quarterback if he's truly elite, like Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen and Russell Wilson have proved to be this year. But, yeah, it's just some food for thought there. So maybe you guys can hit the old mailbag at sqd13@gmail.com with your opinions on why this is super stupid. All right, let's get into the matchups this week. I already talked about the matchup of the week being the loser leaves town match of Adam versus Weaver. So let's get into this. That's this week, right? I'm not totally fucking up, right? Yep. So let's just get into that one first. We got Weaver versus Adam. Whew. So we got Drew Brees against Carolina. Carolina, so you know what? I'm over it. I've been backing up their defense, talking about how cool they are and how good they are. It's not them. I mean, as much as it's fucking Kyle Allen. He had 4 interceptions last week, and no defense is going to do well in the fantasy arena with your quarterback just losing all his confidence. And I think Drew Brees could be in line for a big week, but Drew Brees is also notorious for dropping off at the end of the season. I know a lot of people were super pissed at him in their fantasy playoffs last year, as they should be. And I think the Panthers will get torched by New Orleans, especially on the road in the Dome. I could see Drew Brees putting up, 25 to 30 points, I guess. Just really lighting them up with some little quick swing passes, maybe to Kamara or something. But I like Watson. I just think he's playing hurt. I mean, I don't think I'm breaking any news here that he's getting banged up big time. Excuse me. Yeah, he's just getting banged up, and it's showing at this point. So I think he scores under his projection, 21.24. I think Indianapolis is just a better team than the banged up Texans are at this point. And even though my boy Marlon Mack won't be there to run amok, I like Indianapolis, which I guess could bode well for the passing game of Houston, but it could also bode really fucking shitty because they could have to abandon the run, and then all of a sudden he's just getting sacked left and right, throwing interceptions under pressure, fumbling. I don't know. Deshaun Watson down the stretch is tough, so I like Drew Brees. So then we got this wasteland of the Cincinnati wide receivers. God, they're looking real shitty. And I guess we're still rolling with Tyler Boyd, despite him not scoring more than 9.8 in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks. And then before that, it was one out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Only one time in 9 weeks has he scored over 9.8. But maybe he'll do something for you, buddy. And you got Thomas, who's incredible. We were looking at his stats and just like, oh my God, his ceiling is through the roof, and his floor is also through the roof. So, and Adam is just with the who's who of wide receiver, and by who's who, I mean who the fuck is that? Hunter Renfrow, you're starting him. Do you have a lot of buys going on, Adam? Is that what's going on? Oh yeah, your boy Will Fuller. Oh, man. I don't know why you wouldn't start Matt Ryan. The Panthers actually do have a good pass rush despite last week. And Matty Ice, as I said earlier, is the 12th best quarterback in the league, fantasy-wise. He hasn't had a great last 2 weeks, but they've been solid. But they've also been against good teams defensively. New Orleans and Carolina can get after it. Tampa Bay cannot get after it. They've given up the second most points. In fact, they haven't given up, other than the first 2 weeks when Shaq Barrett was just eviscerating fools, he hasn't given up less than, Tampa Bay hasn't given up less than 17.38, and that was against garbage Kyle Allen. So it might be worth thinking about putting Matt Ryan in instead of Drew Brees. Larry Fitzgerald, unplayable. Will Fuller, questionable. But he scored more points in that 1 week than the rest of the year put together, so he's pretty tough to trust. You got Washington, who should get a nice volume with all their injuries, but he's on your bench as well. I feel like this Hunter Renfrow thing, he's just a high floor guy, it seems, these last few weeks, but also kind of not. Oh, geez. I don't know. I don't really like Hunter Renfrow, but you do you. That's why you're the 2-time champ. All right. But, yeah, it's Hopkins who should have a good week. And maybe that stack works out for Weaver. Watson towards Hopkins. But, yeah, I just like Weaver's wide receivers much better. Jamison Crowder, how has he been doing these last few weeks? Crowder? Barely newer. Yeah, he's been killing it. 18, 16, 16. Maybe I'm sleeping on him. Yeah. Landry. Yeah, he's been doing well too. All right, maybe I'm tripping. Maybe it's more of a toss-up than I think. All right, Ingram and then Hill, who should have a better week. He had the opportunity last week, but like I predicted, the Panthers' run defense is actually pretty damn good. So, only 4.3 there for Brian Hill. And Philip Lindsay and Ezekiel Elliott. You got to give the nod here to Adam, even though Elliott is going up against New England. They've looked mortal lately, but have they looked mortal against running backs? I mean, not really. They haven't given up more than 13, and that was against Baltimore that just gouged them on the ground. So is 16 a lot to be projected? Probably. I would say probably closer to 10, but you have to start Ezekiel Elliott. I think Mark Ingram actually probably outscores him against the Rams. So, that being said, and then Lindsey against Buffalo. Yeah, it's a tough matchup. But then you got your boy Aaron Jones against San Francisco. That could be tough. Jacobs against the Jets. Like Jacobs. So Weaver's going to be getting a tight end in here, I'm sure. Probably Everett. So, and then Kelsey. Ooh, what are you going to do, Adam? What are you going to do? Butker, barely newer. She's on the bye, too. You know, I think I gotta go with Weaver here. I think he gets the win, and I think it's a lot because of your buys, unfortunately, Adam. But Weaver has a sneaky good team. They just have been seriously underperforming. And what was that heartbreaking loss 2 weeks ago for Weaver? He also lost on Monday night to Bill, which is uncanny. That Bill has been pulling these out of his ass. But yeah, he just had a really underperforming type week this last week. But the loser leaves town match. Here we go. Weaver versus Adam. All right, I got Weaver in that one. Now I'm going to go to my matchup. The Fertile Oven versus Super Shitty Team. Right now, Scott has literally everyone on bye. Rivers, Diggs, Watkins, Kenyon Drake, Bailey, Kirk Cousins. Everybody is on bye for this poor guy. So he is projected to score 42.21 as of the recording of this podcast, and he has a 4% chance of beating me. Now, I got some tough luck last week because I had my guy, Marlon Mack, my one bell cow, break his hand. So this could be trouble for me. I have Melvin Gordon on bye. He's my other bell cow type player. But, yeah, it's just really tough to see that happen to my guy. Mac attack. Return of the Mac. I hope there is a return of the Mac because I really need him for the playoffs. I don't think there's much to break down here. I think I just have the better team. I need to get a better defense. Carolina at New Orleans. Maybe I could hold on to them. Who do they have coming up? Washington, that could be a good matchup. But then their playoff schedule is Seattle and Indianapolis, so that's not really that great. I don't really want to roll the Carolina Panthers defense out in a championship game against Seattle or Indianapolis. So I'm going to have to find a better defense than them. My FOMO, putting Randall Cobb on the bench last week, literally tinkered him out of my lineup last second. 19.6 2 weeks ago, 19.5 a week ago on Sunday. So I guess really like 2 days ago. Yeah, pretty annoying. But, I mean, I'm hoping that he could be that flex for me or that third wide receiver for me, depending on, Alshon Jeffrey's availability, Latavius Murray, Sterling Shepard, these guys. But luckily, it's the last week of bye week. So after this, it's all hands on deck for everybody, which is awesome. So I have me over Super Shitty Team, which keeps the door open for some of those other guys by knocking Scott out of the equation entirely. Could help out Peebley. Could help out the winner of Adam and Weaver. For some reason, I keep forgetting their names every single freaking time I bring it up. But, yeah, it's pretty easy to pick me over Super Shitty Team. Lamar Jackson, incredible. DJ Moore, I think it's safe to say I won that bet, or that trade, and the bet. I'm not sure when we made the trade, but he's only scored less than 12.1 one time in the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks. His target volume's awesome. He's had 101, 120, and 95 yards the last 3 weeks. So, DJ Moore, my guy. I love him. DJ Moore. You know what? I love it. And Julio Jones has been awesome. For me, not awesome like he should be, but really nice floor to have. Just getting the teen points. I guess, God, he hasn't been that awesome. 11 and 9, but I think now that they're playing at Tampa Bay and New Orleans coming up, Carolina again, I think Julio Jones is gonna show out. James White finally dipped under 10 points, 9 points, whatever you want to say. But I think he comes back against Dallas in a big way. So anyway, I think I'm fine. I think I continue pushing towards second place. I'm just hoping that if I get this win, I'm pretty much close to guaranteed a bye if I get this, because then I get to 9-3, and the only guys who can really catch up with me are Colin, and that's pretty much it. Colin can catch up with me, but he would have to beat some tough competition, including that Max Dunn 3 versus 5 matchup this week. And then after that, he has a pissed off, maybe eliminated Weaver. So it's not going to be an easy road for Colin. It's an easier road for me because I have Scott. And then I have, if I get a loss, it'll be against Hawk and Cock. But I'll be at full strength minus Marlon Mack. Anyway, let's get into these more matchups. All right, Walrus versus New England Empire. Now, Pebbles has had a rough go these last few matchups. He is coming off a 99, point loss to 129. He had 105, just not putting up high point totals, dealing with injury, 116, 105. So it's respectable, but also getting high scored by a lot of dudes, which sucks. Like Hawk and Cock put up 152. A lot of people are going to lose. 143 against Super Thighs me. 129 against Zeke. So really tough go for Pebs. This could be his opportunity to really seal that playoff spot, and I think he does it. I think he beats New England Empire. He looks like he's close to full strength. Let's see. Yeah, not seeing anyone on your bench that you'd want to start. All right, so you've got Wentz against Brady. Brady's had an awful last few weeks. I'm not sure why he's projected to score 19. He hasn't scored more than 23. So look at this. He has, Jesus Christ. Sometimes my ending music, I forget to mute it, and it just pops up out of nowhere, and it fucking freaked me out. Hopefully you guys heard that in the podcast. But he has 3 points on week 4 against Buffalo, and then it's 23-21, and that's pretty good. And then week 7 he has 11, week 8 he has 18, week 9 he has 13, and then week 11 he has 8. And he's thrown 1 touchdown in the last 2 games and an interception. So he's 1-1 in the last 2 games. With he hasn't broke more than 300 yards in either of those, and obviously no threat to run with those baby giraffe legs. I just don't see 19.7 really being a realistic projection for him. So I like Wentz better against Seattle. Really rolling out with Gage. I think he might have had a touchdown called back. I think he caught a touchdown and then it hit the ground. But, I mean, he's kind of a wing and a prayer kind of player against Tampa Bay. It's not the worst, flyer. Lockett has been killing it all year, but had a down game against San Francisco and then a bye week. So we'll see if he picks right back up where he left off with, very high floor and a nice ceiling with those 18 target, 14 target games where he got 26 and 33 points respectively. And Golden Tate's soaking up all my Sterling Shepard targets. He's been killing it. So Sanu, he predictably, I guess, came back down to earth after I crowned him with 2.2, but he could have one of those bounce back games. Ridley seems to be doing better than Julio Jones these last few weeks. Definitely had a better game. 8 targets, 8 receptions, 143 and a touchdown last week against my Carolina Panthers. And Emmanuel Sanders, if he's back, that's good. But he hasn't been great. I mean, the Niners' pass offense isn't super potent. I guess Jimmy Garoppolo had a really good game against the Cardinals, throwing for 4 touchdowns again, I think. And I think it was like the most yards that a Niners cornerback has thrown for in like the past 20 years or something crazy like that. So maybe I'm full of shit when I say their passing offense isn't much, but I mean it seems like with Kittle out, you don't really know who's going to reap the benefit of that. I guess Deebo Samuel maybe. Anyway, let's look at these running backs. Kamara against Carolina. Carolina has been giving up a lot of touchdowns, like I said, but the yardage isn't quite there. I mean, we'll see. I think Kamara is really good. He seems to always fuck the Panthers, so I like him big this week against Carolina. Le'Veon Bell against Oakland. That's a nice little matchup for Bacon. But Le'Veon Bell is more just a volume-based back. He's not really. I haven't seen a. I mean, have you seen a single Le'Veon Bell highlight this year? Like one of those awesome runs. I wonder what his longest rush is of the year. That would be interesting. Maybe it'll show. The longest run he's had. Wait for it. 19 yards. The longest receiving play he's been a part of, 21 yards. He clearly has lost that explosive element to his game, so more just volume and touchdown dependent. But I like him against Oakland. I can see that being a little bit of a weird shootout. I know Oakland's really good, but it could be one of those weird shootouts. And, I just think that, I mean, I love Pebbles going with this double tight end stack, but when you've got Andrews and Waller, why not? I mean, they're high floor guys, and that's all you really need. As long as you have a few boomy guys, just a bunch of high floor guys is great. Carson is playing really well. He has a good matchup against Philadelphia. Philadelphia has tightened up a little bit lately against the Patriots. They kind of bottled up everyone, but it seems like they always give up something. I just like Andrews' team better. I think he seals up the playoffs, and then that eliminates everybody officially but Scott, who is basically eliminated with his shit point total, and after I beat that ass. All right. So I got Beebley. And then, of course, it's the Hawk and Cock Charcula matchup. The two lovers going at it. A bunch of best bros hanging out. They epitomize the bro aspect of our just a couple of best friends, best bros hanging out. It's the iconic duo of Sean and Brad. Let's see. So Robinson and Johnson out for Charcula, and I'm not sure who. I guess he could throw Breida and Woods for projection. I like I can never pronounce this guy's name. Juice, Geis, whatever, the Washington running back. That would probably be a nice little plug and play. I think from what I've seen and heard, it sounds like Washington is accepting their shit fate, and they kind of want to see what they have. And I mean, we all know what Adrian Peterson is, so Darius, right? That's his first name. Darius, yeah, I think it's a good opportunity for them to see what they have with him. And he's back and healthy, so it could be time for him to start running amok, which would be good for Sean. And then wide receiver wise, I guess you got to roll the dice on Woods if he's healthy. For personal reasons, he was out, huh? What the fuck? Why was he out? But yeah, could be a good replacement. So that would put you close to probably around 95 projected. So maybe a closer matchup than Yahoo has it being. I like Evans. I think Atlanta is all of a sudden dominant. Apparently, what's his name? What the fuck is their coach's name? Dan Quinn. Is that it? Dan Quinn. He relinquished defensive play calling duties, and they've been torching teams ever since then. So there you go. They've been killing it. I think that he continues to kill it. And yeah, it could spell trouble for Evans. Galladay against Washington, I like Galladay, but without Stafford, it's a little bit tougher for him. 3.9 last week, just one reception for 34 yards, but just not going to get it done. Gallup's really coming on as of late. Just 10, 15, 19, increasing every week. Then you have my guy, Naheim Means, a.k.a. Naheim Hines. And I think he's a great play because he's really the only guy whose role we know for sure in that offense. Like Williams and Wilkes are, it could be a committee there, but we know for a fact that Hines is going to be getting those passing down looks, snaps, and also might pick up a little bit of the rest of the workload. So could be a good start there. Could be a heady start. Duke Johnson, complete trash. Let's see how he did last week. 5. Yeah, he's just been so lame. Just not a fan of his. Let's see. It's really his receptions that do it for him. He has 24 receptions on 34 targets. Just not that much. 232 yards. Just so underwhelming. Probably 5.9 is a good projection. Oh, and we're rolling back the clock with Hawkinson. That's nice. I like that. 2 targets, 1 reception, 6 yards. Ew. Not good. Not good at all. All right. God, this is a sneaky opportunity for O'Malley to pick up a win, depending on these buys. But yeah, Schuster plays DJ Chark against Tennessee. I still got to roll with my boy B-Rad here, but good job, Sean. I feel like you're doing your best to, put your team back together with paper, and stitches, and tape, and wraps, and compression, and whatever else you can think of. Some ice, maybe. Trying to put this team back together. Yeah, but wait, what the fuck? Hold up. All right, never mind. AJ Green not coming back anytime soon, but you're really rolling in the Cincinnati wide receivers because you got Erickson, this vaguely Latin fella here. All right, so I got Hockencock to win, but I think this is upset alert. I think Sean could definitely get the upset here in his bronze self. All right, so what else do we got? What do we got left? We got Straight Jameson versus Super Thighs Me. This is another elimination matchup. Evan will for sure be out if he's beaten, and I think he does get beaten, unfortunately. He's got a tough bye with his star quarterback on bye, and a few other guys, right? No, just that guy? Oh, well. Well, maybe it just feels like it's over for you. Still got Cup, who, again, has been underwhelming. 0. He's done 3, 8, 32 by 0, and then 6.8. So hasn't eclipsed 10 points more than once in the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks. So the rise and fall of Cooper Kupp. It looks like he's in the fall right now. He's going up against Godwin, and just Tyrell Williams, who's back and healthy, and looks to be the lead dog in that backfield against New York, who's going to be a sieve. I don't like Winston and Godwin against Atlanta, especially on the road. Yeah, I mean, Christian is going to get his. Fournette against Tennessee. How does Tennessee do against run? They're just middle of the pack. Yeah, they're just middle of the pack, but every team has done fairly well, though. It's just about who does well. All right. So, Leonard Fournette has been... I can't believe he only has 1 touchdown. I'm still projecting him to break that streak. He's going to get a touchdown. All right. Curtis Samuel had a pretty shit game, but when Kyle Allen's that bad, it makes sense. Godwin. Hollister is... Everyone's all on his nuts now, saying he's a new Will Dissly, which I thought Will Dissly was basically the new Will Dissly. Never heard of him before this first few weeks. So there's a bye for your kicker and your quarterback. It's just too strong here with the undisputed best running back in the game, Christian McCaffrey. I just have to pick Diamond Bill. I wish he would fucking lose one of these weeks so I can get that top pick. But to be honest, I don't want to face Colin in the playoffs. Colin, I think, is a scary dark horse champion or 4th place, one or the other. But yeah, Evan, Saquon just he's having a tough year, as is predicted with how shitty they are. Kareem Hunt, he does okay, but he's not really going to move the needle. Jones against Atlanta, don't like it. He had a bad week last week. I just don't see a lot of super high upside with your team this week. Debo has had a really good last few weeks with the absence of Kittle and Sanders, but Sanders should be back, and I think Kittle might come back, right? Is it Kittle might come back? Let me look. New England Empire. George Kittle, questionable. Well, there's no new update, so if he's out, it'll be good news for Debo. But yeah, I just don't think you have the firepower in that matchup. So I think Diamond Bill goes ahead and eliminates Super Thighs me. Sorry, buddy. Then finally, we have Mine Chupf, which is definitely Colin's best name this year, and Maxwell Dunn Jr. So I feel like I kept calling Josh Allen Jared Allen earlier, and if I did that, I apologize. Josh Allen is having an incredible year, and he's really turning it up. In his last 6 weeks playing, he has 17.4, 21, 17, 17, 25, 34. He had an awesome week last week, and I think he's just that, again, that quarterback cheat code with all the running. Let's see how many rushing yards he has. He has 331 rushing yards, but 7 rushing touchdowns, and that's gigantic for a quarterback. I guess the argument would be to help, nullify the importance of a running quarterback to make rushing touchdowns worth 4 as well for quarterbacks. But I know one of my other leagues, I hated it. They had passing touchdowns worth 6, and that was just simply too much. It was just too much. If we really wanted to go out of control and throw the force out of whack, that would be it. But let's see here. It seems like a super duper bye week. Colin, he is projected to score less than Max despite having one less slot. This Tyreek Hill injury is really tough, and he's on bye, so he'll get to heal up. But he's going to go and undergo an MRI, and I felt like Tyreek Hill is really the linchpin in his whole team. Like, Colin was mediocre at best without him, then all of a sudden Tyreek Hill comes back and Colin's just killing it. So, that's something to keep an eye out on, is Tyreek Hill's availability for the rest of the year. Amari Cooper is incredible. He's just been... I guess last week wasn't incredible, but before then he's been incredible. He's had a few clunkers, though, huh? 0.8, 5.3, 7.3. And they're against New England. This could be a tough one for Colin. Gordon, Nick Chubb. Chubb has been getting that volume, though. 27 attempts. Chubb, I don't know why he's projected. Why is he projected to score 18? He scored 18 twice all year. Am I crazy? Oh, well, duh, it's Miami, that's why. All right, Coleman against Green Bay. He's come back down to earth quite a bit since he lit the Panthers on fire. Marvin Jones Jr. just having an awesome last few games. 38, then 4, 22, 10, 17. He's kind of a touchdown magnet, huh? Who leads the league in touchdowns? Is it him? Does he lead the league in receiving touchdowns? Is that true? Let's take a look. Could absolutely be true, but maybe not. Receiving touchdowns. What the fuck? Why does it say 2? Why is it only 2? I don't want week 11. I want all. Oh, this is frustrating. Weekly stats? Come on. Individual season stats. That's what I want. All right. Touchdowns. Receiving. This is taking way too long. Yes. Marvin Jones and Kenny Golladay lead the league in receiving touchdowns along with DJ Chark. That's awesome. 2 Detroit Lions. I saw a stat, I think it was going into this last week, that they were one of 4 teams to have had a lead in every single game that they've been a part of this season. So Colin is kind of in a little bit of trouble this week. He has some nice matchups, but Allen is kind of nullified by Wilson. Wilson being the better one. Horrible Odell Beckham Jr. sucking up a roster spot against Amari Cooper. That's kind of a wash. Robinson has been bad with basically no one playing quarterback for the Bears. Against Brown, who's been decent. 31-point game last week. Can't be mad at that, especially with 14 targets. So if that stat goes off for Colin, he could run away with this one. Parker, we've all made fun of him, but he's had a nice season, so I would have him over Gordon. Let's go. Gurley's tough. Oh, man. This is a really tough matchup, actually. I am going to go ahead and pick Colin in this one. But it's really tough. It's really a coin flip. All right, so that's all the matchups. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. And now we're just going to get into a little mailbag here. So, starred, we have which league member? This is from Black Tide, podcast questions 123@gmail.com. Name Black Tide. I wonder who it could be. Which league member will get engaged next? Well, let's take a look. My money would not be on O'Malley, though. Who is even in a relationship in this league? So, Maxwell's done. Done. Weaver, no one on the horizon. Colin has Chelsea, whom he seemed to be fairly whipped by. He missed all of the morning game, doing anything but bro time. Bill is a candidate. Traveling the world with his lady friend. I feel like Scott could get engaged. Did he tell me he was engaged? I think he told me he was going to marry this chick. Hold up, let me look this up. Scott Novum, definitely not my old boss, Scott Gall. They've been dating since May. She's planning on moving with him to go to any vet school he ends up at. Yeah, he said he's dating the girl he's going to marry. So Scott is quite the position there. O'Malley, no one in sight. Bacon, Jasmine's awesome, but I don't know if they're at that point yet. But yeah, Jasmine's super cool. So Brad, Monique, ooh, that could be one, huh? Geez, these power rankings are tough. It's really just like a dartboard. Peebly's already engaged, right? Is that the fact? We'll figure it out. So Adam did get engaged. And then there's me. I am living with my girlfriend, so I'm a step farther than a bunch of the guys on those power rankings. So I would say it's probably between Scott and probably Colin and I. But, I mean, we'll see. I don't know if it's going to happen anytime soon. So, thank you, Black Tide. This is a dumb one, but I'll take it. Can you match each league member with a piece of fruit? I can. I can try, anyway. I am an avocado because I'm the thickest one. Probably have the most calories inside of me. That's a fruit, right? Oh, fuck. We'll have to look that one up. I would say, what would Evan be? That's a really tough one. What's the best fruit at everything? Because that's what he would be. I would say he's probably like a nectarine, because that's the best overall fruit. Pebbles would be the healthiest fruit, so he'd probably be like a banana or a pomegranate. Is a pomegranate a fruit? Is that a berry? Pomegranate fruit? Question mark? Let's see. How to eat pomegranate fruit. Okay, I'm convinced it's a fruit. So, Pebbles is the healthy pomegranate. Adam probably he would be. Jesus is a tough one. I feel like he'd be something like a peach. This is tough going with every single one, so I would say that Bill is a kiwi, just because he reminds me the most of a New Zealander. And Colin would definitely be a banana, because he just can't get enough of that. Yeah, that's pretty much as far as I can go with that. What's the most bitter fruit? Because that's what Max would be. Bitter fruit. Bitter fruit list. No, not the bitter fruit rankings. What is the most bitter fruit? A gourd? Also known as bitter gourd or Corella. Bitter melon. All right, so Max, you're a bitter melon. All right, that's all I'm going to do. That's just simply too much. People are rolling over in their graves right now, their future graves. The Sacco favorite. Which team is Sacco favorite? Clearly, it's O'Malley. And then I kind of answered the rest of this. He's talking about the playoffs. What is the worst house I've ever lived in? That is a really good question. And I would say it's the little apartment. It's not quite a house. It's a little apartment I lived at in Isla Vista with Emily Pompan. We got that Cat Jackson, and then immediately we had a flea infestation. That was probably the most miserable 2.5, 3 weeks of my life. Flea infestation, just shitty, tiny little studio apartment. And then we got kicked out in like 2 months because they found out we had a cat. So that was definitely the shittiest one. And week 10, what are my Super Bowl teams? I see the Patriots are struggling despite only having one loss. They're really banged up offensively. It looks like the Ravens are, just torching on all cylinders here. I would say currently the favorite to win the Super Bowl are the Baltimore Ravens. And it's kind of a hot take, but I mean, to say that now the Niners aren't the favorite in the NFC, like that's kind of the hot take. But I think they are, especially if they get back some of their guys like Juszczyk and George Kittle, the second best tight end in the league. I think they could, and some of their offensive line like Joe Staley, is he back? I can't remember. I think they could definitely go with go to the Super Bowl and then have a Harbaugh 2, John Harbaugh versus the ghost of Jim Harbaugh. And I kind of like the Ravens in that one, but that's just because Lamar Jackson is just such a better quarterback than Garoppolo. So it would be fun. It would be fun to see. And then I think I have one more question from old Black Tide. Oh, nope, that's it. The best house I've ever lived in is by far the U. So there you go. There's that. All right. And then Adam Bolenbaugh. Hey, Stu. Long-time listener, first-time emailer. I've been listening since your early fantasy football podcast, when you were also committed to talking about real football. Can we get an updated power rankings on our real football teams? Thank you, your eager audience. And, oh, man. Apparently we had a bet. Shit. Oh, I did have a bet about the Raiders and their mediocrity, didn't I? Fuck. All right. So let's see. Who do we have here? We have the Panthers, obviously horrible. Panthers. So I guess I'm just going to write out, this is no particular order, I'm just kind of brainstorming. Chargers, Raiders, Jaguars. That's it, right? Do we have one more? Oh, Steelers. That's right. Steelers. So Niners, Chargers, Raiders, Jaguars, Panthers, Steelers. I have the Niners in first, and then I have the Raiders, not the Chargers. I have the Raiders. The Niners have looked a little pedestrian these last few weeks. They looked obviously mortal against Seattle, but they were banged up, and they had some bullshit kicker. They should have won that game. They had a comeback with... They actually covered the spread against the Cardinals, which was amazing because of that, end of the game defensive touchdown. But they just need to get their stars back. They need to get healthy. The Raiders, I did not really catch a lot of that game, but they're on a little bit of a roll, and I like what they're doing. Like defensively. Oh wait, hold up. Yeah, I mean they've had some easy matchups too: Lions, Chargers, Bengals, and they just. I mean, it's not the most impressive win against the Bengals, but they've got the Jets coming up. They got the Chiefs, and the Chiefs are also kind of in a downward spiral, and they don't really have a tough schedule. Look at this: Jets, that should be a win. Chiefs, that's a toss-up. Raiders at home against Titans, that could be a win, should be a win. At home against the Jaguars, I think that should be a win. On the road against the Chargers, could easily be a win, and then on the road against Broncos, which could go either way. So, what are they at right now? What are their standings? They're 6-4. It's not out of control to say they could win 10 games, which is so crazy. Look at that. For sure 9, right? But they could win 10 games this year. That's pretty awesome for the Raiders. After that, I just guess by necessity I have the Panthers, but they've been so bad. I mean, they didn't just lose to the Browns bad, but they're not good. Kyle Allen is horrible. It's finally starting to catch up with him. I guess the tape is out on him or whatever you want to say. But their defense is still good. Christian McCaffrey is still good. Then I have the Steelers. I think that their defense is actually pretty good, despite losing to the Browns. They're really banged up offensively, though. They're all hands on deck with that. And then I have the Chargers, who I think are better than their record, but not by much. They just can't get out of their own way. And then the Jaguars, the Nick Foles Jaguars. If they get Minshew back, then they'd probably jump the Steelers and Chargers in my book. All right, so that's it. That's my power rankings for our real teams. I wish I could give a more in-depth breakdown on that, but I'm already freaking going way over what I usually do. So that was a long podcast. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. So even though I'm sitting here all by myself, I know that if I close my eyes, I can imagine us holding hands in a field of green. And together we're just a couple of best friends hanging out.